If I would have told y'all that a couple months ago, y'all would think I was crazy. And who better to talk about it with than one of the biggest Aces fans I know? All his teams seem to be winning titles. He can't help it. I don't understand. He needs to tell me what the trick is. Everyone's favorite podcaster, friend of the show, friend of mine, Danny Foxworth. Danny, welcome back.
Man, appreciate you extending the invite. You know, I'll never say no whenever you send out the invitation, man. So I'm here to nerd out over some Aces ball. Let's go.
Let's do it. So as I said, if you would have told me this would have happened a couple months ago, I would not have believed a word that you said. Just put in perspective how crazy it was seeing the Aces look like this at the midpoint of the season, getting blown out by 53 to the Lynx at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point, they were 14-14. I was like, boy, I guess it ain't going to happen this year. And like you said, got blown out I believe it was at home or at Minnesota. Either way, they lost by 53 points, and they had a come to Jesus moment. Basically, Asia sent out text to all of her players like, look, y'all need to tighten up. This is not the Aces way of playing ball. And I remember seeing recently Chelsea Gray talking about what Asia Wilson told her. She was like, look, there's no way on this planet, there's no reason why I should be having more assists than you. You know, you got to do better than this. And I mean, she shot straight with her, and it looks like the pep talk worked because they won. I mean, just went on a complete winning streak, and counting the postseason, if I'm not mistaken, they went like 25-3, which again, just like Brandon said, if you would have told me 2 years ago that this would be the outcome, I'd have laughed in your face.
Yeah, I mean, like just a historic. They won 16 regular season games in a row after that loss, and then they won another one to open the first round series with the Storm. But I just could not. I couldn't believe how bad it had gotten, because obviously a lot of change in terms of Kelsey Plum leaving, bringing in Jewel Lloyd. And then that was really the only significant move. You had smaller moves that ended up paying off. You get Cheyenne Parker-Tyus from the Dream. She was out recovering from giving birth. And then Dana Evans from the Sky, who ended up playing a big role. But man, I did not expect – there was not a point of the season where I knew it was going to happen next. Like, well, the meme, never let them know your next move, that was just the theme of the Aces season. So, yeah. I mean, I have a pretty good guess here at the role Asia Wilson, a fellow South Carolinian, has played in your Aces fandom. Is that accurate to say?
It's 100% accurate. How I became an Aces fan is actually threefold. Number one, yes, Asia Wilson, number one, being from South Carolina. Also, two, being left-handed. I'm also left-handed. And then number two, I was a huge Kelsey Plum fan, and she's also left-handed. And then the third reason is because Bill Laimbeer was their head coach at the time. And I was a huge Bill Laimbeer fan as a little kid. And so those three things right there are really what drew me to the Aces.
I don't think I've ever met a Bill Laimbeer fan.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
That's funny, because you would enjoy Christmas at the Silvers household, a tradition now. Every Christmas Eve, we watch the Bad Boys documentary.
Yeah, you know, that's funny. I actually watched that last week.
It's really good. Another little fun fact for all of the Beyond the Arc fans who are interested in my life: I was almost named after Isaiah Thomas. It was very close.
Really?
Yes. So, but for whatever reason, here I am as Brandon. But that is really, because I just followed Asia from obviously South Carolina native to the University of South Carolina. I'm a Gamecocks fan, to the Aces. Your way is a very interesting route. And so how hurt were you to see Kelsey leave? Because I was a big Kelsey Plum fan myself, and then she wanted to see what it was like to be the number one.
Yeah. And Yeah, and kudos to her. She went to LA and she balled out. But yeah, it was like a punch to the gut. It was almost on the level of that 4th of July when KD
Oh,
announced that he was going to play at Golden State. It wasn't quite on that level, but it was like a couple notches below. But either way, when she departed for the Sparks, I was like, oh no. And then they picked up Jewel Lloyd basically to fill her spot, and then she was struggling in the
yeah.
starting lineup. And then she asked Coach Hammond to have her come off the bench, and that move has really paid some serious dividends.
Yeah, that was a great lesson in knowing your limitations. I feel like to have like the professional maturity to go to the coach, and because we talked about it before, I think she really had to work on Coach Hammond to get her to make the move.
Yeah, because initially Coach Hammond she refused to make the change.
Yep, and then to move Kirsten Bell and Kia Stokes are the punching bags of the aces on social media, at least. And I keep it respectful, but sometimes if I had hair to pull out, they would have driven me to pull my hair out. So to make the move, not only to move her to the bench, but to put Kirsten Bell into the starting lineup,
oh my
and for
God,
that to work. That's why Becky gets the big bucks, I guess.
Yeah, but good old Popovich disciple. Because whenever I started seeing the starting five, and I'm like, are you shitting me? Why is Kirsten Bell in the starting five? But I mean, it works.
It was crazy,
she doesn't play a whole lot of minutes, but still, every time I see that picture of her in the starting five, I'm rubbing my eyes like this can't be real.
Yeah, it is. It is always jarring to see. And if she's good enough to where she can play enough defense to hit a 3 or 2, like just a couple threes, maybe, don't give up too many points, and then they'll work Jewel into it. I think that she has more than done her job. So was there any concern for you heading into the Seattle series?
Yeah, there was, because I know with Jewel Lloyd, that having that emotional attachment to it, with her being with that team for so long, and figured that would play a role in that series. And then also just the Storm, I'm imagining that they were probably trying to prove to the league that we can do just as good without her. And so that was, to me, one of the biggest storylines in that series. So yeah, I tell you what, I got to hats off to the Storm. They gave Vegas all they could, especially in that third game. I was sweating bullets, and then Jackie got that rebound and put it back up with like a fraction of a second to go to put them ahead and to eventually win. I was like, whew, crisis averted.
Yeah, that was about to get real bad because 74-73 in game 3. And you're right, that the Jewel Lloyd storyline, because everything I've read, that was not a very good split. There was some animosity there between Jewel, the organization, some of the players. So I wasn't really sweating that one out, especially after game 1. When it was a blowout, and then all of a sudden Seattle was like, you should probably lock in. And you're right, they really battled. And then we get right into the Fever series, that's a scrappy team.
I'm telling you. And
game 1 off the bat, they just 16-point win. In your opinion, what was the storyline of that series for you? Just like how did the Fever how they even take it to 5 games, man? I mean, they have everyone important was injured.
I'm telling you, that team has they have like heart in all caps. Initially, like before the series started, I was like, man, I don't know who's going to be able to match up with Kelsey Mitchell. And she got her points off, but then Odyssey Sims did the exact same thing. I'm like, boy, where did this come from? And then Shea Petty just came out of nowhere, just showing up when it mattered most. I'm like, boy, this is going to be a long series if they're going to continue to play like this. And I tell you what, I got to give all the credit to the Fever because they truly fought tooth and nail this entire series. And it was a little too close for my comfort considering how decimated they were with the injuries. And I was just like, as long as we got over that hump, then you know what? I was fine after that.
Yeah, I think that Kelsey Mitchell, to give people an idea of how hard Kelsey Mitchell was playing, she had to leave the last game with a condition called rhabdo, which I've only heard of people going too hard in CrossFit or a marathon getting. I've never heard anybody playing basketball into getting rhabdo. I think it's something with the protein in your blood breaks down and can like cause kidney failure and all kind of stuff. That's how hard she was playing. And like we are talking about the injuries, they had all these replacement players, but Odyssey Sims, hooper, like she was on a hardship contract, but that is a pro's pro. Same thing with Shea Petty.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my goodness, please don't let this happen. Especially, I'll be real with you, the fan base for the Fever.
That's a whole nother segment right there.
I could not have that happen. I just couldn't have it happen. And oh my goodness, that's all I care to say at the moment. But I could not have those people be happy. Actually, I got some more stuff to say. I could not have Sophie Cunningham be happy. I can't stand Sophie Cunningham. I'm going on the record. I just hated seeing her even halfway happy and just standing up on the bench. I would just be drawn to her and just be like, you need to someone please make her sit her ass down right now.
So basically Sophie Cunningham is to you what Madison Bumgarner is to me.
Yeah, that's such an appropriate comp in so many ways. And I guess because again, I as a Dodgers fan, which we could talk about baseball playoffs too, but one of the happier days, I'm going to categorize it as happier, even though it's going to sound fucked up for a little bit. But when I heard of Madison Bumgarner flying over the handlebars of his dirt bike and injuring himself, I did wait to see. I wanted to see if Madison Bumgarner was going to live, and then I was going to see if it was a serious injury. And when those things, okay, he's going to live. It's not really a serious injury. Now, depending on how serious, I still might have laughed, but I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to laugh about this from now until the end of time. If Sophie Cunningham was not to get injured or harmed or anything, but if she were to like crash a golf cart into, I don't know, do they have like molasses trucks or something? And then she, like the molasses, some sort of cartoon thing happened to her and someone so happened to catch it and put it on social media, I would enjoy that as well. Because I cannot stand Sophie Cunningham. I cannot stand her. Okay, I got to move on. So another matchup as a Gamecock fan too was the Aaliyah Boston, Asia Wilson battle in the post.
Yeah.
I think Aaliyah is an irritating defender. I think that is fair to say.
Yeah. How
would you grade her performance on the job she did with Asia?
Well, you know what? I mean, it's against Asia. I mean, there's only so much you can do, but there was instances and there were games where she did hold her own, and I got to give her credit on that. I'll tell you what, though, one of the things that made me crack up was that photo of Aaliyah Boston. She was on the ground and just looked like she was complaining to the ref, and just seeing the look on Asia's face, like, bitch, won't you get up?
She is just an all-time hack.
Yeah.
And You could tell Asia is just done with it, and it kind of seems like a big sister little sister dynamic. Asia was there; she like set the tone at South Carolina, and I know exactly the picture you're talking about, and she was just over. She's like, "Yeah, you're going to be the one complaining." And you're right; she did a good job and frustrated her a couple games, specifically game one.
Yeah.
But I think people it was like, look at the rest of the series stats, I guess is what I would tell people to do. And again, like you said, you're doing this against Asia Wilson. There's only so much you're going to slow her down. But she averaged 24 points, almost 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. So, and that's a good job. That's kind of to me, Asia reminds me the most of someone you appreciate as well. My favorite player, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yep. Your favorite player and mine.
So that was kind of, I remember the clip from when David Robinson, Dream was just gave it to David Robinson, that MVP year for David Robinson. And there's like a press conference and David Robinson was like, I hate to say it, it sounds funny, but I think I guarded him pretty well. And he had like 40 something points. And that's kind of what Asia, she gives off too, because you can guard her as well as anybody. And she's still going to figure out a way to get 30.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Good luck. She had 35 in that last game that went to overtime and almost killed me.
Yeah. Oh my God. You and me both.
It was like, what are we doing?
Bullets. I was sweating bullets.
It was terrible. It was terrible. And that was when everyone was, because you think when you never want to see anybody, like, I want to see the best of the best go against each other and I want my team to win. But then you see Kelsey Mitchell go out and you're like, oh, okay. But that was one of them games when Odyssey Sims was just,
she stepped up,
couldn't miss. And that was a Shea Petty game too. She couldn't miss either. And I was like, oh, good Lord, someone do something. But they did eventually. And then they face off against the Phoenix Mercury. Did you watch the Mercury series against the Lynx?
That I caught one game of that series.
That was about all the games you needed to watch, because it was the Mercury. They're just such a tough team, and then they were going to beat the Lynx, in my opinion, whether or not Fee got hurt. It was unfortunate she got hurt, but they were winning the game. She got hurt, but about to go one game within advancing even in that game. But then you get the Alyssa Thomas, Asia Wilson matchup, two MVP candidates. Well, obviously Asia won another MVP. What were your feelings about the Mercury heading into that series? What were your feelings about the series in general? Were you feeling confident? Like, I guess if you had to rank them, which series were you the most confident heading into between all three, Storm, Mercury, and Fever?
It was the Fever. I mean, not the Fever. It was the Mercury for me. Fever, I was like, it's kind of similar to how I felt with OKC whenever they knocked out just slayed the Giant with the Denver Nuggets in 7 games. I'm like, if they could get over that hump, nothing's going to stop them. And I felt the same way about the Aces with the Fever. I'm like, man, if they can get over the Fever hump, despite their injuries, they played like just balls to the wall, just all heart. I'm like, man, if they can get over that, then the Mercury series should be a cakewalk. And lo and behold, it was. I had Aces in 5, and it turned out to be a sweep. So, hey, kudos to the Aces for making a liar out of me.
They made one out of me too, because I was such a prisoner of the moment after watching how Phoenix looked against Minnesota. I was like, oh, they might be able to get 2 games here. I thought it was going to be Aces in 6.
Yeah.
But I think game 1, when they hit all those threes and Satu Sabali just couldn't miss.
Yeah.
And they still ended up losing because Dana Evans was incredible. I didn't see, if you were going to take a game from Vegas and they needed to on the road, that was going to have to be the game. And when it didn't happen, I was like, I don't know what else they got for him. And that is kind of how everything else played out. Like, it was game two. Game two, let me see. Let me pull up my notes, because game two, that's right. Game two, we were at the Hornets Thunder preseason game, and we were keeping up with it on our phones.
Yep.
And it was a good thing that we went to that instead of watching that game, because that was a blowout. And then the game three, Asia game winner.
Ooh. Turn my record up. Boy, I tell you, I was sitting there just pins and needles, and then to hit that turnaround fadeaway on Thomas and Bonner.
That's what was killing me.
So poetic.
They said
so poetic.
She was the first basketball player to hit a game winner on a married couple.
Oh man, you hate to see it, but you love to see it.
That's gonna be a long ride home. Oh man, and then when that happens, then it's basically a wrap. And the Mercury, they just kind of came unraveled in that last game with Nate Tibbetts. He gets ejected. Everyone was getting technicals left and right. They had the bad luck with Satu Sabali not being available due to a concussion.
Yeah.
They still would have lost anyways. And then the Aces were the Aces. It was just like no suspense, which is fine by me as an Aces fan. So just to see that, and this is how many teams of yours have won titles in the past 5 years? Like, what's going on?
Wow. First off, let me preface this by saying that all of the professional teams I root for, up until 2022, none of them have won a world title in anything. So really, it started with, well, you know what? I'll count the Charleston River Dogs too, because they went back to back to back, and it was 21, 22, and 23. And then the Aces go back to back in 22 and in 23. Then the Rangers win the World Series in 23. Then the Thunder win the NBA title in 25. And then the Aces win another title in 25. So that's altogether, that's 8 chips in the last 5 years.
You must be living right.
Delayed gratification is a beautiful thing, boy, I tell you.
Yeah, it all came back at once. That is a beautiful thing. So I guess the question I have is, you've got the Tar Heels, you got the Panthers. Who else are we missing that hasn't won here recently? Would that be
the
it?
Panthers. I don't really count the Tar Heels because, not football anyway, because, they got more titles than you can shake a stick at, so they're out of the equation for me. It's just strictly pro teams at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, I just need the Panthers to win a Super Bowl.
So how are you feeling about the Panthers now? Before we get into baseball, we got to talk about the Panthers, because Rico Dowdle.
Thank you, Rico Dowdle. Ooh. I tell you, you talk about just standing in the gap for Chuba Hubbard. I didn't see that coming. I knew he had a 1,000-yard season with Dallas last year, but to have 200 plus total yards in back-to-back games, that is insane. I did not see that coming at all. And I just love his style of running because he just runs so angry.
Yes. Yeah. Big fan. And another former South Carolina Gamecock like Asia. And Aaron picked him up on her fantasy team for this week. And so she was very happy as well.
Smart move.
And to put a bow on the Aces segment before we get into baseball, I believe I've heard you say, correct me if I'm wrong, you prefer talking about people's favorite players versus the GOAT.
Correct.
Because it's a more interesting conversation. And really, any GOAT debate is at its core you talking about your favorite player.
Yeah.
Just in a more pretentious way. So, not that Asia is who is your favorite women's basketball player?
My favorite women's basketball player of all time is Tisha Penicheiro.
That, boy, we got to have a whole nother episode about that, because you are correct. But for someone who is looking for a favorite basketball player, why should Asia Wilson be their favorite basketball player? Especially with the season she just had and all of her accolades. 4 MVPs in 8 seasons.
Before the age of 30.
What is going on? So sell someone. They need a favorite player. They want to pull for the Aces. They want to wear a pink wig. Why Asia Wilson?
Oh man, and it's funny. Just the strength of her being able to, that pink wig power carrying on to her dad and the owner, Mark Davis. They both showed up to the press conference with pink wigs on. So, that right there, if that ain't enough of a reason for you to hitch your wagon to the Asia train, I don't know what else to tell you. Got what? 3 titles?
4 MVPs.
4 MVPs, 3 Defensive Player of the Years. Scoring champion, Finals MVP.
What are we doing?
Only person in women's and men's NBA to ever accomplish that feat. That right there. And she's from South Carolina. That's probably the biggest reason why you should root for her. Yes.
That is it. Yes. And I have seen anytime another Aces player has a good game, I've seen some people on Twitter will Photoshop a pink wig onto that player. And I enjoy that bit thoroughly.
So good.
Honestly, we did not even talk enough about the greatness of Chelsea Gray, who got it together. You touched on it earlier. Asia had to get on her. Like, you are the point guard. How do I have more assists than you? She showed up and showed out in the finals. And Jackie Young.
Oh my gosh.
Whew,
yeah.
She might be the best 2 guard in the league.
Yeah.
Like
she held it down.
Defensively, like she is insane. So
yeah. Kudos to her.
What a season, and I cannot believe it. And I hope we don't have a lockout. And I'm very curious to see what happens if hopefully we do get an off season in terms of roster construction, because everyone's a free agent right now. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be crazy, but we get to celebrate this, and we got our shirts. For those of you who can't see, we got our shirts on, so we're fine.
Yes.
So I need to know if it's going to continue, because we're recording Tuesday right before the Dodgers game 2 of the NLCS. But I do want to start with what's happened so far. I know I listened to your preview episode. How are your predictions holding up for the MLB playoffs?
Our World Series champion pick is still alive. Both of us picked the Seattle Mariners. We had them facing the Phillies in the World Series, and then the Phillies got knocked out by the Dodgers. So there goes the NL half of that bracket. But I'll tell you what, man, there's few things better than October baseball.
It is such a beautiful thing. And this is something I've talked about before with both you and Brett. Because Brett really sold me when I was trying to get back into baseball on the amount of tension in the game of baseball.
Yeah.
Because like with Asia, when she's hitting game-winning shots over married couples, like the clock is going to hit 0 at some point.
Right.
And that will be it. Baseball, you can just be in it in a full adrenaline rush, anxious from like 7th inning on, or you could really start from the beginning of the game if you really want to.
Yeah.
And it just, that's for regular season baseball. And then you just multiply that by like 300 for the postseason. And
I'll tell you what. Wild. Yeah. And after the Aces game, I'm already on cloud 9 and I'm buzzing and I can't sleep. And then I flipped the channel to game 5 of the AL divisional series between the Mariners and the Tigers. And that was, I was going back and forth between that game and the Aces game. And you talk about just a pitching duel between Skubal and George Kirby. And Skubal, it's crazy that 13 strikeouts is just a regular day at the office for him. So, it's his world and we're living in it. But Kirby held his own. And the fact that game went 15 innings.
Ridiculous.
I didn't go to bed until about 2 a.m. I hadn't stayed up that late in a very long time. And it was well worth it. I got to say, that was an incredible game.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. It's good because sleep is at a premium right now with Young Rocket.
Yeah.
And for me to still be locked in And to feel like it was worth it to be locked in, I'm like, that's the power of playoff baseball. And
Yeah.
so we've got the Mariners and the Blue Jays. Currently, the Mariners are up 2-0. What have you seen in those 2 games that's really caught your attention, made you be like, oh, okay, my World Series pick for the AL is they're hanging on strong here?
Yeah. Just Cal Raleigh doing Cal Raleigh things. And then I watched the game yesterday, and
My goodness.
yeah, that thing, it dropped like 13 runs. So, I mean, like his bat was on fire. Julio Rodriguez's bat was on fire. I mean, they were fishing with dynamite. And I didn't think it was going to be that big of a win for the Mariners, but to steal 2 in Toronto, that's huge. That is huge.
Yes, that's crazy. And I think I saw, what was the stat they were saying? Raleigh has like 9 home runs in 14 or 15 career games at the Rogers Center.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know why you would bother pitching to him there.
They just rename it
now. We're
they
going back
rename
to
it.
Seattle.
Yeah, just rename it the Raleigh Center.
They need to, because that man
He's on
just
a
a
mission.
ridiculous season. Oh my goodness, yes. And then on the NL side with my Dodgers, I try to be an optimist and hold out hope, but I was not mad at your Phillies pick, because I have seen the Los Angeles Dodgers bullpen,
Yeah.
and I don't know what's going on. And so, do you know what's going on? Could you help in any way?
I tell you what, I got nothing for the Dodgers bullpen, but I will say I felt so bad for Orion Kerkering when he picked that ball up and just had a mental lapse, man. I felt so bad for him because the catcher was signaling for him to throw to first,
Yeah.
and he threw it to home instead, and scored the game winner. And Dodgers scored the game winning run. I was like, just in that tight of a situation, and the game ends like that. That's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, that was really tough, because that was 11 innings.
Yeah.
And it was rough for me, because Dave Roberts basically gave away game 3. It felt like he just kind of punted on that. Kershaw came in and just got lit up in relief. And then you get to that game and you're thinking, well, this is kind of why you end series when you have the chance to do it. And it did work out as a result of just one of those things where it's easy to sit on the couch and be like, well, you got to throw it to first. But these are people in high pressure situations, and he's bobbled the ball. I probably would have thrown it to the moon. So it is what it is. But we have survived. And then last night's game, the opening game of the series, I swear, I've got to be on. I've got all my beet juice, my cherry juice, everything for the blood pressure, because they're trying to get it out of me again. That should have been that felt like that was going to be a blowout against the Brewers, who were incredible against the Cubs. And then, did you see the play? The basically was a ground out double play home run robbery.
No, I missed that one.
So, bases loaded. I don't even remember the inning. I've tried to block most of this out. Bases loaded. Max Muncy is at the plate, hits the ball. The outfielder goes to catch it. It hits off his glove and hits off the wall. And then he catches it after it hits off the wall. And he throws it in the home. And Teoscar Hernandez did not get home in time because he went to tag up, but he didn't have to tag up, but he went to tag up. And then he did a bunch of pump faking and was late, and it was a force out. And then the catcher, Contreras, ran it to third to get Will Smith, I believe, out at third on a force out. And I think they said it was the only time that's happened in postseason history. I believe it was an 8-6-2 double play in postseason history.
Goodness.
And it took everyone a long time to, like, they had to review it and figure out what had happened. I guess since it hit his glove and then hit the wall counts as now the ball is in play. And so the ump, I believe it was the left field ump, knew it. And he was probably the only person in the stadium who knew it. And that was the end of the inning. So I went from thinking Max Muncy grand slam to like a 409-foot ground into double play is, I think, what it was scored. And I'd never seen anything like that. And at that point, I was like, we will probably find a way to lose this game because I don't understand how that's possible. That is a very bad omen. But Blake Snell was dealing.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Blake Snell that was like vintage Blake Snell.
Yes. So I was trying to think of the stats. It was the first time in the postseason a pitcher had faced the minimum amount of batters through 8 innings since Don Larson's perfect game in 1956.
That is insane.
And so at that point, I'm thinking I'm feeling pretty good. And so naturally, Dave Roberts takes him out for the 9th. And then it's to the bullpen, Roki Sasaki, who that's a new role for him. And I feel like that's a tough spot to be put in. So he gives up a run and a couple of base runners. And then Dave turns to Blake Trinan. And he shouldn't ever turn to Blake Trinan. Blake Trinan, he pulled it out, but Blake Trinan has been terrible all season long. The only reason we don't talk about how bad Blake Trinan has been is because Tanner Scott has managed to be worse.
Man.
And I just don't understand. I don't understand the managerial decisions. I trust Dave. I do. And I like Dave. But I would just like to have seen Blake Snell just complete the game. Just do it. I don't even know if he had 100 pitches yet. So, like, if his arm falls off, it's for a good call. He finished with 103 pitches. So,
okay.
Let's see if we can get to 120. But I don't know. So we'll see what happens. The Brewers, do you think they have enough? We're about to find out in about 30 minutes when the game starts. Do you think they have enough to come back and win this series? What have you thought about them so far this postseason? Man, they went 5 with the Cubs too, didn't they? Yeah,
that was a hell of a series. And so I think they'll give the Dodgers a run for their money. It might go 7 games. If I'm being for real.
If it does, I won't. I'll tell you that right now, because I mean that was game 1. That was game 1 that's got me so stressed out.
Yeah.
And the Brewers closer walked in a run, and that was really the only reason, because there must have been I can't find the stat, but I'm pretty sure the Dodgers left 8 million on base last night. And I was just like, okay, we're just not going to score runs. So it was very frustrating. So we've got the Mariners making it to the World Series. Revise your World Series pick in the NL if you would like to. And if you want to predict a winner, you can predict a winner as well.
I'm going to go Dodgers in 7.
Dodgers in 7. You're a good person, Danny Foxworth, but my belief isn't all the way there yet.
I feel you.
I think we have covered it all. So, as I said, this man basically runs his own podcasting network. So I'm gonna clear out. I'm gonna ISO you like Asia in the post for the game. Tell the people where they can find you. You will also find all this in the show notes.
You can find me on IG at Danny Foxworth 843. As far as my podcast, I have a baseball podcast called At the Plate with Danny Foxworth, which you can find on all streaming platforms. And Brandon has been a guest on there several times. I have another podcast called Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth, which is basically just general discussion, just a myriad of topics we cover. And Brandon was also a guest on that podcast very recently.
Yes, sir.
And then I have a Candle podcast entitled The Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth. And I just put out an episode this week. And then Growing Up Low Country with Liz and Danny, which is me and my first friend ever in life. We get together once a month and we just reminisce on the good old days. And you can find all of those podcasts on all streaming platforms. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can find the visual components of every episode of those podcasts. You can find my YouTube channel at Danny Foxworth 843. And Brandon, this is always fun chopping it up with you about just everything.
Yeah, man. It is always fun. I appreciate you all the time coming on. You are on it. You're always prepared. You're knowledgeable. You're entertaining. I always go through and switch which one of your podcasts is my favorite. I think when we were talking at the game, it was Growing Up Low Country. But then I listened to A Wicked Good Time, and I was sober, but I was thinking about how wild it is that they can make candles that smell like things without really using the things to make them. And I was like, this is blowing my mind, because you were talking about the coffee one.
Yeah.
The coffee candle. And I was like, this is crazy. So check them all out. They are incredible. Man, this has been a time. Cannot thank you enough for coming back on. And for those of you watching and listening, appreciate y'all as well.